Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. And today, I got a very special NFL legend video today. The gentleman's name is Mel Blount. He played cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers from 1970 to 1984. And boy, was he a great football player. He really, in my opinion, set the tone at the cornerback position. Think about this, though, before we get started. Right now, in the last 24 hours, the Pittsburgh Steelers nation is on fire. They had some gentlemen that was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this past weekend. Alan Faneca, Troy Polamalu, Bill Cowher. And boy, let me tell you something. Steelers nation was in effect. So, doing Mel Blount this morning, it's an honor, it's a pleasure. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it as I highlight Mel Blount. Mel Blount grew up 2.5 hours from where I'm broadcasting today, which is in Douglasville, Georgia, and Vidalia, Georgia. One that highly recruited football player in his younger years, but he ended up going to a HBCU by the name of Southern University down there in Baton Rouge. And boy, he was a hard-hitting safety and cornerback down there. And think about what he did before he arrived with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Him and another gentleman who got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Mr. Harold Carmichael, out of Jacksonville, Florida. They set the tone for Southern University football in the SWAC. And think about all the great players that followed Mr. Blount there. Goran Tuck, Aeneas Williams, Sean Wallace, George Farmer, Gerald Perry, Isaiah Robinson, who I just mentioned. Boy, the list goes long at Southern University. And then W.C. Mumford, a tremendous head football coach. So when Mr. Blount stepped into the National Football League in 1970, we knew that this guy was going to be special at the cornerback position. True story about Mel Blount. His rookie year, he played special teams, return kicks. Then in 1971, he was on and off again in the starting lineup. And there was one game that changed his career that season. It was against the Miami Dolphins. Pittsburgh won that football game 24-21. But Mr. Blount went up against Paul Warfield out of the Ohio State Buckeyes. And Mr. Warfield lit him up for 3 touchdowns that evening. And Mr. Mel Blount said that would never ever happened to me ever in a football game. Let's go to 1972 when he became a full starter, and he did not allow a touchdown. But what really was impressive to me about Mel Blount was his skill level. We're talking about a big corner at 6'3", 205 pounds that can run like the wind. Then you're looking at the grade report on him. He was physical, A+, feared, A+. Size, I just mentioned, A+. Speed, a legitimate 4.5 guy, A+. Quickness, A+. Toughness, A+. And the mental ability, A+. You got to have that to play in the National Football League if you're going to play the cornerback position. And Mr. Mel Blount set it out early in his career. But this is the thing that I really, really loved about this young man playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was the mental makeup. Mental like a champion. Mel Blount stated that he did not want to take second to nobody. Not for one play, not for one quarter, not for one half, not for one game. His mental ability was be the best every moment while he was at that cornerback position. And look at his career, man. 57 interceptions, 13 forced fumbles. Outstanding as a cornerback. NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 1975. 4 Super Bowl rings in 14 years. Played on probably the greatest defense in NFL history that got the nickname of Steel Curtain in 1976. Joe Green, North Texas State. Ernie Holmes, Texas Southern. L.C. Greenwood, Arkansas Pine Bluff. Dwight White, East Texas State. Jack Lambert, Kent State. Jack Ham, Penn State. Dennis Dirk Winston, the University of Arkansas, Pig Suey, Go Hogs. Mike Wagner, Western Illinois. Ron Johnson, cornerback, Central Michigan. J.T. Thomas, Florida State. Glenn Edwards. He was the main clog of that defense. And he played it at a high level. And when he was NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 1975, he had 11 interceptions. Then let's go ahead to 1976. To me, he played on the greatest defense in one season. That Pittsburgh Steelers defense gave up only, I believe, 110 points. I'm not for sure, but I know this. They had 5 shutouts. For 11 straight quarters, they didn't allow a touchdown. That was special. And this young man that played cornerback set the tone. But there was one other thing about Mel Blount. The NFL changed the rules for him because he was a master at the bump and run. When I say master, he was a master. And you know what I mean by that. That's why he was able, when it came to playing the Oakland Raiders, he held Cliff Branch in check. When it came playing the Oakland Raiders, he had Ferry Bolivikoff in check. When it came to play the Dallas Cowboys, he held Drew Pearson in check. When it came to play the Cincinnati Bengals, he held Isaac Curtis in check. When it came to play the Green Bay Packers, he held John Jefferson in check. And when it played against the St. Louis Cardinals, he held Mel Gray in check. I'm not even a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Everybody who's been following 100 Yards Football know I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. But I'm going to tell you, watching them terrible towels this past weekend at the Hall of Fame introduction and going back in the day, that's some greatness and that's something special. And I got all the respect for the Pittsburgh Steelers nation because this man here is one of the top 5 corners that ever played the game. And they changed the rules because of his bump and run technique. But then he came up with another technique, which was the cat and mouse, where he pretended that the receiver was beating him on a route and he played behind him. But when the ball was in there, Mel Blount was there. And all you got to do is go back to the Super Bowl in 1979 against the Dallas Cowboys, when he had that key interception that really changed the football game. Mel Blount set a standard. And he had a standard that a lot of players followed him at that position. Mike Haynes, Oakland Raiders. Lester Hayes, LA Raiders at the time. Hanford Dixon, the Cleveland Browns. Frank Minifield, the Cleveland Browns. Dale Green, the Washington Redskins. Deion Primetime Sanders, the Atlanta Falcons and the Dallas Cowboys. Charles Woodson, who just went into the Hall of Fame, University of Michigan and the Oakland Raiders. Jalen Ramsey right now, who's the best corner with that LA Rams out there. And then, of course, the guy that's part of our show here, 100 Yards of Football, Mr. Bobby Butler, Florida State finalist, 2-time All-American, 12-year veteran with the Atlanta Falcons. This young man on the screen, Mel Blount, set the standard. And he was a tremendous football player. And he's a guy that when you think about football over the 70s, you better realize when you think about that black and gold of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they had great players. I just mentioned the defensive side of the ball. They did have Lynn Swann. They did have John Starwood. They had Franco Harris. They had Terry Bradshaw. But, man, you better take notice, and you better take heart that the guy that got it started on that defensive side of the ball in the secondary was a young man at 6'3", 205 pounds, the great Mel Blount out of Southern University. Man, he was a football player. I can't even think about him playing the position at 6'3", 205 pounds and him running with all them great receivers I just mentioned. But he did it. And when you look at the great game at this position on any level, high school, college, professional, if I'm a guy that has aspirations of playing that position, going to the next level, you better believe I'm going to get every game tape on YouTube dealing with Mel Blount. And I might reach out and try to find his phone number because he played it at a high level. My final words about Mel Blount, Southern University, Vidalia, Georgia. It's simple. It goes by band by war. I was strolling one hot summer day when I thought I lay myself down to rest, and I'm in a big field of tall grass. The great group war spilled that wine. When Mel Blount played his 14 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he was spilling that wine all over Three Rivers Stadium all the way to the Hall of Fame in 1989. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. Let me give shout outs to my producer, who I think is the greatest guy doing this at a high level, Mr. Jeremiah Long out of Knoxville, Tennessee. And another shout out. Since we're talking about Mel Blount from Southern University, I want to give shout out to my boy, Mr. Mark Bass. By the way, Mark Denham. He's going to be the voice and announcer this year for Southern University football. God bless, man. You deserve every moment. And go down there and put it on fire down there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's been an honor this morning. So enjoy the day. You've been listening to me, Vincent Turner, 100 Yards of Football.